Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Space Social Podcast. I am honored today to be joined by Hayley Imbler. How are you, Hayley?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Did I say it correct? Imbler?
Imbler.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's kind of
Awesome.
weird, but
So Hayley we she is a nail artist in Salt Lake City. I'm originally from Salt Lake. I love having the Utah girlies on here. And Hayley and I met over Threads for our mutual hate of ice.
yeah.
And
That's
I'm excited to have her on the podcast. So, Hayley, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
yeah, so I am a nail artist and educator. I started doing nails probably it's been like almost 5 years now since I started, and then started educating a couple of years ago. I studied elementary education in college and then never
Amazing.
taught elementary school, but I decided to like apply my knowledge of teaching. And I love teaching. I just, for some reason, elementary school wasn't speaking to me.
Sure.
But yeah, I applied that into doing online education for other nail techs, and it's been super, super fun. And that's mostly what I do. And then I also work on the side a little bit in a new tech startup that's also in the beauty industry.
Amazing.
Yeah, we like are in our beta phase right now, so it's like brand new and cool, but we're really excited. It's kind of like think of it as like the Yelp of just like beauty service providers where you can like search and find people just by like your zip code, which is really
Yeah.
cool. So that's like our new like my new little side endeavor. I'm working on that, and that's pretty much it about me. I'm just a Utah girl, not the original Utah stereotype, but
That's
I
the
did,
that's the girls that we love here.
yeah, I did grow up here and grew up Mormon and not Mormon, and
Same.
now I do my own thing and it's great.
This is actually so embarrassing, but I met my husband on our Mormon missions and we're not Mormon anymore. So yeah, I usually tell
That's
people we met at work because it's
that
too
is like
funny.
such a classic ex-Mormon story though, is to like
It is.
meet on the mission.
It is. I
I
also
also went on a
would
mission,
yes.
so
You did too?
I did, and then I taught in the
Oh my.
MTC for 3 years.
Oh my God. Where did you go?
I went to Peru.
Okay, awesome. We were in Houston, so
Well,
yeah, that is crazy. I love a fellow
yeah,
RM Exmo.
yeah, it is quite the trajectory.
It is. That it is.
But we're doing well on the other side, so
Yes, it's so lovely to be on this side, truly. It really is.
yeah, I agree.
Um, I really quick about your tech startup. I feel like that is so exciting because I feel like as someone who uses the beauty service industry often, usually I'll go on TikTok to get like the full reviews, so that will be lovely to have
Yeah, it's like it's
that.
really awesome. The site's already up. It's like in its beta phase, so like professionals can join and like you can start looking. It's just that we've got maybe like 650 providers on there so far. Most of them are in Utah, but we do have like
Sure.
people all across the country. But yeah, you can like look up by your zip code, whatever service you're looking for. You can filter it by like pricing and your availability, and
Do you
then
want to
it'll
share
show
the
up.
like the website and I can share it in the show notes?
Yeah, totally. It's called thebeautyconnective.com.
Okay, perfect. I'll share that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, yeah, it's great. And then you go on, you can click whoever's there. There's like a little profile picture. You can see photos of their work, photos of their workspace, a little bio, their policies, pricing, services, whatever. And then they can also like attach or like connect their socials. So you can like click on those links. And then no matter like what booking service they use, you can also like have that there. So it's not like you have to use like a specific booking link for it. So it's like gonna be really super awesome. It's
Yeah,
just a matter of getting it all populated and like getting the word out and getting people to
right.
know about it. And then once it's there, you won't have to like search hashtag Las Vegas nail artist when you
Yeah,
like move to Vegas and don't know who to go to. And then you're like searching through a bunch of random people. You can just search your zip code and find people close to you, and it's gonna be
yeah.
great.
That's
So
exciting. I love
yeah.
that. Congratulations.
I mean, it wasn't my idea, but
You're in
I
on it.
I'm very happy to be a part of it. I was lucky to like reach out to the, or I guess the founder reached out to me and was like asking if I wanted to be an affiliate, and then I just started working with her, and now I'm like the little assistant. So anyways,
Oh,
that's enough about that, but it's great. It's going to be super awesome.
yeah, I'm excited. I hope you'll post more about that on your page so we can like keep up with how that's going and if we can use it.
Absolutely.
Because it's like I love your nail work, but I'm also like in Vegas, so I'm it's like a bummer because I would love to come to you.
Yeah, I think it'll be really, really great for like situations like that where you're like, oh, I really like this person, but who's someone near me? And then you can see their work and see somebody who like maybe looks like they might have a similar vibe to me, or, is somebody closer to you that you can work with. So
Right,
yeah.
right. Well, I'm really excited to have you on the podcast today. We have a few questions, and I just think that she has such an incredible social media presence, and I'm excited to get her feedback on that and also having the right clients. I first want to start out with asking you, Hayley, how do you attract the right clients instead of more clients? I feel like people sometimes the business owners they want to attract more and they are completely unaligned. So I wanted to start by asking you about how do you attract the right clients?
Yeah, I think that the biggest like piece of advice that I can give to anybody who's looking for clients, like no matter what industry that you're in, is to be yourself as much as humanly possible on your like online presence, because if you are not yourself, you're not going to attract people who are like you or who would like spending time with you. And so it's really important to be able to like not only, like put your work out there, but to also put yourself out there so that you can meet people that you genuinely vibe with and get along with. And I think that's been really, really helpful for me is, as hard as it may be sometimes to put yourself out there and be vulnerable online. I think that's what has attracted the best clients for me in my work. And at the beginning, when I was newer, you're like, oh, I don't really know like what type of nail artist I am. I don't know what I'm looking for. And so I generally like, took more people who were maybe a little bit different than what I maybe thought I like would want as a client, because I'm trying to, like work on building my
Yeah, like you're
clientele and
experimenting.
yeah, and trying to figure out who I am as a nail artist. And I think that's really common, especially when you're starting in, I mean, in anything, trying to figure out like where you fit and where you stand out. But I think that being yourself is like of the utmost importance. In addition to that, specifically like as a nail artist for me, I like to try to post the types of things that I want to continue doing.
Yes.
So if it's like a project that I am, was really excited about, like if it's a set of nails that I was really excited about and I loved and I would love to do it again, I will post that and I will like make sure that that's visible on my page. If it was like a nail set that I maybe wasn't as excited about and I would never want to do again, I won't post it. If it was something that was really cool, but I never want to do it again, I will sometimes still post it, obviously, because
Sure.
it's cool. But I'll be like, nobody asked me to do this again because I'm never doing it again.
Right.
But I think just like being honest with the people that follow you, being real and sharing what you love is the best way to attract the right type of people into your business. I was going to say, in addition to that, when you're actually like working with a person, I know that there's frequently like lines between like being professional, being unprofessional. As a nail tech, those lines get blurred pretty easily because
Yeah.
we are dealing with people who constantly come in and are like spilling their life story to you, and it's great. And I love that. And I've made some incredible friends through doing nails, which I really appreciate. But I don't think that, depending on what line of work you're in, I guess, but if you work for yourself, I don't think that you should shy away from like being who you naturally are. Obviously, you don't want to be like super rude to people. I think that kind of goes without saying, but just being willing to like be vulnerable with people, and the types of connections that you make that way are just so much more meaningful.
Yeah, I agree. I want to come back to something you said a minute ago about posting the work that you want to keep doing. If what would be your advice for somebody who is more at the beginning of their career in any type of artistry career? Because I think this applies to not only nail artists, but like it could apply to photographers, just like any service-based provider. Would you suggest that they take on like free or cheaper projects to get that onto their social media, which is essentially their portfolio, or how would you go about that?
So I never have discounted a service ever, even if it was something that I wanted to do. I don't think that that's a great idea. That's my
Okay.
personal philosophy because I don't want to work for free. Like regardless of whether or not you have like as much experience, like you still need and deserve to get paid. It's like, every year I'll give myself like a slight raise based on like my experience and the education that I've like taken in. But I have never worked for free unless I'm doing like a trade, but that
Sure.
doesn't register. But as far as like other niches and stuff, something like if you don't have work that you've done to post, but you want to do something that I came up with kind of near closer to the beginning of when I started working was what I like to call flash designs, like how tattoo artists do their flash pages.
Yeah.
I would post on my story and I would give like concept ideas for like nail sets that I wanted to do. And it was never pictures of other people's nails, actually. It was always just like collages of like different vibes that I was feeling. And I would say like, hey, this is going to fit into this tier of my like nail art. Somebody claim it. Like, I really want to do
That
this.
is so
And I
brilliant.
would go through and do like, a bunch of them at once. And I would have clients reach out and be like, yeah, like you're totally welcome to do that on my nails. Like, I would love to do that. Like, I have no idea what your vision is, but go for it. And that like helped with my creativity and being able to like pull designs into like a nail set, which was kind of a little bit of a weird concept. Like, I've taken like pictures of like random interior design like
Hmm.
rooms and I've like translated that into nails, which sounds super bizarre, but like it was really fun for me. And then I'm able to showcase like how I went from inspo to nail set, which is what future clients want to see also. And then I get to do something that I'm interested in doing.
Yeah.
So that was like some advice that I put out on my social media actually a long time ago. I was like, hey, if you're like not doing the type of work that you want to do, make it look fun for the people that are potentially booking. Make it feel exclusive. Make it feel like it's something that just they're gonna get. And it's also something that you want to do. And then
Yeah.
it's a win-win.
That's the best strategy I've heard in a long time from a business owner. Thank you for sharing that. I
You're
love that.
welcome.
I also want to ask about, your audience and your clients. You have such a loyal set of clients and an audience. What do you think people connect with you most? I know we kind of talked about being yourself, but do you feel like they connect most with your work or your personality or what you share behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of a combination of all of the things. I know that a lot of people have followed me for my education. That was really when I kind of blew up social
Hmm.
media wise. That was when I gained most of my followers was when I was releasing education that hadn't been done before. I had released a course on pigments, which is what I use as a replacement for airbrush because airbrushing is not safe. Fun fact for people listening,
Yeah.
airbrushing with gel, if your nail tech's doing that, they shouldn't be. It's super
Hmm.
unsafe. But pigments were a safe alternative for that and gave the same effect. And I kind of worked really hard at learning how to create the same effects with a different product. And then I came out with a course on it. And that's really what drew a lot of people to me was being able to use a different product to create designs that were popular without being unsafe and then also like just kind of making myself the expert in that field. And I think a lot of people still look to me as somebody who knows and cares about like the education and what's going on behind the scenes. Like I'm very, very open about how much I care about the quality of my work and how much I care about being safe. And I think that that's what draws a lot of people to me personally. There's other nail techs that have lots of followers and they've got their own audiences and it's like, sometimes they follow, said person because they do 10 clients a day and they want to learn how to be faster. That's not my vibe. I actually like do 2 to 3 clients a day, like
Mhm.
because I'm so meticulous. So I think it's good to remember that like there is somebody for everybody. Like,
Yes.
yeah, it might not be like you don't have to fit into a box of like, well, I see this person that has a lot of followers, so I need to be like them. Well, that's not how they got there.
Right.
How they got there was by being who they are, caring about what they care about. And like sometimes it's a little bit controversial. Like I'll show up and there are people who argue with me about airbrushing where they're like, it's really not that bad. And I'm like, that's fine. That's your MO. Like you're wrong, but I'm going to stand by like what I think and what I know, and I'm going to continue to educate myself. And I think people appreciate the authority, I guess, in that where I'm just like, I stand by what I stand by.
Yeah.
So I think that's it's kind of a culmination of like my work is strong. They enjoy seeing what I do, but they also connect with my personality because I am doing my best to put myself out there
Yeah.
and kind of share the not great moments and the great moments.
Right. I
So,
think
yeah,
also like your authority is backed by education, so you're able to have that authority in an
right.
ethical way.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think that's something that sets me apart from some other people because, there are 5 million people that put out courses that are not educators.
Yeah.
And, I spent years at a university learning how to teach. I student taught. I taught 3 years of Spanish. So like I have the experience and I think that builds a lot of rapport with people. And I think that is important.
Yeah. Agreed. What's one mistake that you see artists making on social media that is holding them back from booking their dream clientele? And this can just be like artists in general.
Probably one of the biggest mistakes that I see is kind of something that I mentioned a little bit earlier, where they're so worried about what's trending and what's viral and what is going to make them stand out that they forget to put themselves out there as themselves. Like it's this constant, like, oh, I'm following this trend. And it's gotten worse and worse over the years,
Hmm.
where like originality is not necessarily rewarded by the algorithm sometimes.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, I hopped on this trend early, and so I got this thing, and I hate it. I hate seeing it. Like I do sometimes do trends, but I always try to make them into like something that I connect with,
Yeah.
something that like means a lot to me. So like there was a trend recently where it was like, this is a whatever type of account and that's political because if you get murdered by ICE, you can't do this thing anymore.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I resonate with that a lot. But I don't want to copy what these other people are doing to a T because that's not me. That's not who I am as a creator, as a person. So I took that idea and I added on to it. I'm like, I'm going to add my own feelings into this and make it something that resonates with me and is the way that I feel. And so I'm expressing how I feel while also maybe, slightly following this trend.
Right.
And it went viral. And it was like, I was kind of late to the trend and I like didn't really care about it going viral. It was just like, also, I want to make sure that my audience knows how I feel about this particular issue.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put it out there. And then it
Yeah.
did great. And I think that's what people forget is they're so worried about performance and how well it's going to do that they curate things or they don't put anything out there at all. And they're missing connecting with people that they could potentially connect with if they just decided to like be vulnerable, be themselves, do a little bit more like of staying away from the trend and whatever and trying to make things their own.
Yeah. I think on social media, people will follow trends, but I often like to ask my clients or other people who they enjoy following, and I would say 9.5 times out of 10 it's people who are very original in themselves, and that's who they enjoy scrolling and following day by day and even like spending money with their business. So, yeah, I agree. I also want to ask you, so you're both an educator and an artist. We've talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you balance protecting your craft while still teaching others what you know?
I was like really excited for this question actually when you sent it to me because I am
Good.
so passionate about education in general.
Yeah.
I learning about it in college and learning the way that people learn was really fascinating for me because everybody learns differently. Like some people are visual learners, some people are auditory learners, some people learn by doing the actual thing. And so with my like a couple of courses that I have online, I actually really I took so much time curating them, which a lot of people don't understand, which is why like I had people, this is a side note, but I had people complaining about how expensive they were. And I'm like, I
Hmm.
don't think you understand how much time I put into these and how much like my past experience brings value to this.
Yeah.
I really focused on helping people to understand the products and how they work so that then they can go out and create their own stuff. I didn't go through my courses doing like hey, here's a tutorial on this specific nail, here's how you do it. Because I don't like that kind of stuff. Like that doesn't, it's not fun to go out and be like, okay, cool, I copied this person and I only know how to do this one design that they taught me how to do.
Hmm.
So what I did in my courses, I took products that, like the first one with the pigments that people didn't know how to use, or my second one, which is Bloom Gel, which I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's the whole thing, but I took that product that I noticed a lot of people were doing really poorly,
Hmm.
and I became an expert in them in the best way that I possibly could, and then took that knowledge and broke it down into here are what the best products are based on my experience, my knowledge. Here is how they work. This is why they work. This is how you're doing it wrong if you're having issues. Here's how to troubleshoot that. Let's go through the process of here's how to use it this way, here's how to use it this way. I did video modules. I broke it down in key steps underneath in written and had people, like I told people to pause and like work along. And if you have an issue, go back and look at what you did differently so that they're learning in these in whatever way makes the most sense to them. So they
Hmm.
have all of those like modalities available to them to learn the product. So instead of doing tutorials, I wanted them to learn the product. And I think that's how I kept like my originality
Hmm.
whilst teaching other people how to use the products because then they've been able to take it and do what they want with it and be creative themselves because now they know how things work. And I've set them up for success in not just creating one design, but in being able to use, these different products and kind of inventing their own things.
Right.
I think is the best way of teaching. Like you don't want when you teach, you don't want someone to be like a carbon copy of you. You want to encourage them and give them the tools to be able to go out and be their own person while like following like the good rules of what it is to be like, whatever you're teaching.
Right.
So like a good nail artist. So yeah, I think that's kind of how I've protected like my originality and there are still people that like will copy my stuff and it's totally fine. Still, nobody is you. Nobody
Right.
can do it like you do because your brain, your past experiences, your education, your just like the intricacies of your mind have shaped you into who you are. So you inherently will think differently
Right.
than another person when you're doing something, and it will never be exactly the same.
Right.
So I don't
Right.
think that gatekeeping or like that kind of stuff is even like why do we do that? Like
Yeah,
every
non-issue. I think too something with like courses. I know that there are a million courses and some are iffy and some are worth it. Obviously yours are worth it. I think that something people I hope people realize when they purchase a course like yours is that the ROI continues to pay for itself. They may have a client come to them one time, but if they have a bad experience, they are not going to come back. But if they follow this education and really learn it, that will continue to pay on itself forever.
yeah, like you learn how to do, you know, auras with pigments, not only is it easier than using an airbrush and safer and cleaner, but then every single client that comes in and asks you to do that, you then know how to do it and you can charge for that. Like you
Yep.
can charge for your art because you took the time and paid the money to learn how to do it correctly. So you deserve to be like rewarded for that because you
Yeah.
took the time and energy to do it. So yeah, I think that's a great point that people forget about a lot of the time. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy this course, it's expensive." And it's like you'll pay for it back in 10 clients and then
Yeah.
you'll have the knowledge for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. And even just like you being an educator, prior to a nail artist, like they're learning from someone who really can teach them and also give them like the common sense to figure it out down the line if they're trying new things, which is priceless as a business owner and an artist.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that there are a lot of courses these days that people are just like, well, there's more money in online education, so I'm just going to put out a course and they don't really know what they're doing. And then
Yeah.
people pay for it and they don't learn anything. And, that's why so many people end up feeling gypped and they don't want to do online education because they feel like they're not getting anything out of it. But, you just need to learn how to look for the right type of educator
Yeah.
and when you find that, it's priceless.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. So something else I want to talk about is I want to ask you what advice you would give artists who want to grow beyond where they are right now and stretch themselves creatively, but they're nervous about making that shift publicly.
I think that growth comes from vulnerability, admitting mistakes, and being able to like move forward. I mean, just as an example, like I used airbrush when I first like was learning how to do things, and then I was educated accidentally that they were like not safe. And so I publicly went on my story and was like, hey, I did this. This was not the right way to do things. It was unsafe. I didn't know. I've now learned. So I'm going to shift into doing something else. And I think that one of the most beautiful things about being a human, but also being like a business owner or somebody in like a leadership position is being able to admit when you've done something wrong or you've made a mistake.
Yeah.
I think that it doesn't actually make people lose respect for you. I
Yeah.
actually think it makes them gain respect for you. There's so many people in the world right now that I'm like, man, if you would just say that you did that wrong and that or that you were wrong and you were sorry and you wanted to change, that lets people see that you are in fact the type of person who is flexible, who can grow.
Yeah, and trustworthy.
And yeah, something that it's kind of my philosophy that I live by. So my business name is Mystic Snake Nails. I'm very into snakes. I've got my little snake necklace on. I don't know if you've seen, but I've got my cool
Yes.
forearm snake tattoo. Lots of snake stuff. And there's a reason for it. It's not just like a fun, like, oh, hee, that's my thing. It's actually the symbolism behind snakes and what they represent that means so much to me. And I think that really applies to this topic of conversation. Snakes are in a constant growth cycle. A lot of people really love butterflies and they're like, they have like this big change and it's really cool. And yeah, it is. It's like a great metamorphosis, but it only happens one time in your life. And I think that as human beings, we're not like that. We are constantly growing and changing, which is more similar to snakes, which a lot of people have like taboo about them. But I
Hmm.
want to change that, shift that perspective a little bit because snakes, as they grow, they start growing like too big for their skin and they have to shed and let it go in order to grow into like their new skin and have something new to start. And they do that constantly and they keep growing and they keep shedding. And it doesn't mean that the skin that they were in before was useless or that it didn't mean anything just because they had to let it go. It just means that it was time to like move past it, but they still carry the growth with them. And so I think that as humans, we're like that too. Like we can constantly grow and change. There are things that we have to let go of and move past. And like leave them in the past essentially, but we have to remember that we are growing continually from those things. And so I think that being nervous about growth is also a human experience. Like we're nervous about change. I went through one of the biggest changes of my life when I turned 30. This would be a topic for another another day, another type of podcast. But in the year that I turned 30, it was August, my childhood dog died. We had to put her down.
Oh my God.
September was my 30th birthday, and my ex broke up with me in London on my 30th birthday. And then my parents sold my childhood home and moved. And that happened all in like the span of 3 months. And I remember just being like, how do I move on from all this? Like I turned 30, my whole life just flipped upside down. And when I was in London, I ended up in a family friend's home after the breakup. It's this whole long story, but she had a snake on her wall when I walked in. Like it was this big gold snake. And I'm like, there's no way, like, that I walk into this random person's house that has no idea who I am, and there's a snake on the wall. And I start talking to her, and I look down, and she's got a snake ring on her hand. And I was like, yo, do you like snakes? And she's like, yeah, I'm really into snakes. And I'm like, so am I. And we had this conversation about growth and change. And she's like, I just feel like this was a time in your life where you needed to let go of all of this past stuff, and the universe was telling you like, hey, let go. And it kind of felt like, I equate it to like the skin of like the snake just getting like yanked off by like a
Yeah.
fence that they were like slithering under. And I was
No.
like, hey, I wasn't
Yeah.
ready for that one. Like there's still some raw underneath, but I really think that like growth mindset of being able to like grow and change and shift is so important, like as humans, as business owners, just to be able to like continually move forward and move through things.
Yeah. I love that, Haley. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was beautiful. I really enjoyed that. Before we close out the podcast, is there anything else you want to say and like where can the people find you on social media?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me. This has been great. This is my second podcast ever, so
Oh, thank you for your time.
I'm excited. My social media is Mystic Snake Nails. You can follow me on Instagram. I also have my website where if you are a nail artist or know a nail artist, you can send them to my website. It's mysticsnakenails.com. And I always got discount codes running for my courses because I just want people to be able to learn. Like I don't really care about the money anymore. Like obviously that's nice, but I just want people to be able to like receive quality education. And then yeah, thebeautyconnective.com if you're like looking for a hairstylist, a nail tech, whatever, great place to check it out. Or if you are one of those, definitely come sign up, join the database. Right now it's still free while we're in beta phase and it's gonna blow up. It's gonna change the industry. So I'm
Yeah.
really looking
And
forward to that.
I'll
But
make sure to put all of those in the show notes so that everyone can go click those with ease.
if you want to follow me on threads, I'm really unhinged there. So
Yes,
100%.
Buckeyes and Trump.
Amen to both of those.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Everyone, thank you for being here, and I will talk to you next week.